Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid, roles could be reversed. Interpret the message as it best resonates. Also know on this channel, I like to dive deep within the reading, so I do look at everything, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, see how they play out as karmic themes. This will allow you to understand why everything's playing out the way that it is, why your person's acting the way that they are, why you're attracting that person. What is the whole spiritual significance to the connection? Because a lot of times there's no other reason for the connection because the connection doesn't go anywhere. It's just seems like a dud, but there's always significance. We have to learn what that significance is so we can integrate the lesson and then transmute the negative energy. Otherwise, we're going to be a magnet for more of the same type of energy. So the readings are always healing and they're always transformative, whether or not the person awakens to the fact of how they're getting in their own way or what they want to do to progress, to move forward in the relationship. If they do at all, it doesn't really matter what they're going to do, though we do look at those elements because we're all curious. The real importance is how is the connection transformative to your life, how you can apply the information to help you heal. All right, now anything of any importance or relevance in the channel, you can find in the description box. My shadow healing coaching program is opening up again. My shadow healing coaching program includes not just inner child healing, shadow healing, and reparenting, but all the healing modalities to help you heal the effects of trauma, as well as psychic development and life coaching. So it's a very diversified type of coaching. And the reason why I do it like that is because it's very difficult to just do shadow coaching every week. It's a lot. You kind of need to move to another area of the brain. You know, when we give ourselves breaks, we're able to go revisit certain aspects of our shadow healing to see things again from a deeper perspective. We learn more. It's like anything else. It's like when you're trying to learn something, it's not good to spend 24/7 trying to learn something. Like when you get burnt out and you don't see anything different. You actually know when you've been working on something for a really long time and you need to take a break. It's that nothing is working out. And a lot of times it's just that you need to take a break. You need to take a few steps back. So I like to do the shadow healing coaching program that way, mainly because it gives people a break. But also, when you're healing the effects of trauma, you're also actually activating your own psychic abilities because the two really do coincide. You know, it's that when we're blocked spiritually, it means that we're stuck in a limited perception, and a perception that keeps us stuck in a place of fear or a place of lack. When really there's many different realities that play out at one time. Your level of consciousness depends on your core beliefs. So integrating the spiritual lesson allows you to see things from a much broader perspective, one that takes you out of a place of limitation, one that gives you energy opposed to drain your energy. Now, the shadow healing coaching program, the doors are going to open again soon. So I always have limited space because I take a very limited amount of people because I like to tailor each person's coaching for their specific needs. So it really is individualized. The whole point of doing shadow healing and life coaching while you're trying to manifest new experiences in your life, whether that's a new relationship, whether that's applying for a new job, or just trying to venture onto your soul's path, why you're here, your dream job. You know, we're always going to get triggered. So having a coach during those times is important because when we get triggered, a lot of times that's when we get stuck. We get stuck in stupid. And I say that because doing the same thing and expecting to get a different result is stupid, but we all do it. And it's a manifestation from being stuck in the fight flight response. You know, you get stuck in being paralyzed, fear. We don't know what we do. So having a coach, like I said, to help you through those times is really significant for healing. And you don't need to do extensive healing work forever. Like we start off at one tier, but then there's many different tiers as you phase out of the program. You can end up with just being in the community. And the community is where I do regular live streams, where you get little classes. You're still interactive, but you're interactive with the community because you don't need as much healing. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't seek out other healers. You should. I mean, there's not one healer that can completely heal you fully. Usually it's a bunch because we don't agree with everything that one person tells us. Part of becoming yourself and creating yourself is you're taking pieces from everywhere. It's like you resonate with this aspect of my coaching. You may not resonate with another part of it, but you do for, let's just say, Byron Katie. I'm just throwing a name out there, that like you resonate with some of her work. And then, maybe Stephen Herman, that's like a healer that it's that we choose. And we choose because it's what resonates with us. So your higher self is actually what is helping you to become yourself, to create yourself. That's why we never rely on one person. However, I do love for people to stay in contact, and I did want to have something that we would always be able to like be in contact, and that's through the group, and you still get the benefits of the live stream. You still can ask questions, and there's a lot of other giveaways and stuff that by being in part of that group that you get. Just wanted to put that out there. But if this is something that interests you, fill out the link below for the coaching so that one of my team members can get in contact with you. I also wanted to invite you to check out my websites. If you belong to a Gemini or a Scorpio, you might want to check out my other channels. It's nice to see things from a different perception, right? I mean, seeing things from the eyes of that person. So you'll be able to do that, and you'll also be able to find my TV show and past blogs. So if you're someone that wants to learn healing, I have a lot of free resources also on my website. That's part of growing yourself too. You don't always have to pay thousands of dollars to know what it is that you want healing. And a lot of times we don't know. What happens is, again, our higher self is cold, and you should do that in the most inexpensive way. And that's to look at, the resources that are available to you. And there's many different resources. From my website, pureenergyhealer.com, I have a lot of different, but another one, if you really suffer from trauma, and I don't get a plug for this or anything, but I love dragonrising.com. Sylvia Hartman is one of my favorite psychotherapists and healers, and she offers a lot of free resources on her website. And that's, you want to find things that are free to just see if you like it. Then you can, pay. And there's cheap websites too to find reasonable healing things. So it's all about growing yourself and becoming yourself. And the more resources you have, the more that you can really create yourself, because you're seeing things and learning things from all different perceptions. And that's what makes you a good healer. That's what makes you good at doing healing work yourself. Even if you don't want to be a healer, you just say, I just want to heal myself. Again, there's a lot of resources available to you that are free. Check those out, let your higher self guide you. And then from there, believe me, you'll find more things, because all you need to do is visit a website and then go on Facebook and 1,000,001, other websites that are similar that you just looked at. And it doesn't matter if it was for a course or if it was something that you were looking on Amazon for, you will find 1,000 more advertisements for what you just bought. Sometimes it's annoying because you're like, I could have bought that for so much cheaper, So like I said, it's always best to see what's out there first so that you're not just wasting your money. Now, again, want to enter into winning a free reading with me? Got to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the word of the video in your comment bar. The word of the video is always on the first card that I pull out. Lately, I've been pulling 2 cards just to add a little bit more depth, and I've been taking out my deck, the Psychic Soul Healer Oracle deck, made for healing the shadow aspects of ourselves. You see the colors, they're beautiful, they're healing colors, and they have words like compassion and words like cruel, shadows, and not just shadows, but gifts. And my deck allows you to not just do shadow healing because it comes with a workbook that has over 100 different exercises, but it teaches you how to do shadow readings. It teaches you how to do that with just the deck or layering cards. There's a bunch of different spreads in the beginning of the book. So if you want to heal ancestral karma, if you want to clear your own DNA, if you want to, whatever, there's over 50 or 60 different oracle spreads for healing. And then each card has like not just a definition, but they'll have trigger words. So you'll be able to be taught how to use the cards to do not just your shadow healing, not just healing for yourself, but healing for somebody else, and to do psychic readings. So it's very diversified. As I said earlier, your healing, as you heal, it should expand your psychic abilities to begin with. We don't realize that it opens up our intuition. The more balanced we get, and more balance is just we're grounded in ourself, more confident, coming from more of our true self, which is our higher self, not from a version of ourself. And the version could be a mask, or it could be from the wound, but it's not from our true self. It's more from our ego self. So the word of the video is unstructured. And I'm going to pull another one. However, I'm getting a lot just from that. I feel like someone wants an unstructured type of connection, relationship, and they feel like they could actually have one with you because when they look at you, you live your life very unstructured. You seem like a free spirit. I also feel like this person didn't know what to make of you because you have your own unique process. So they didn't really understand your job. They don't really understand how, they like to put people in categories, and they couldn't really do that. They couldn't do that because they see you hang out with a lot of different type of people. They see that you don't have a generic type of job. They see that even when you are in a connection with somebody else, that you're more of a free bird. It's like, it doesn't mean that you're not committed. You're committed, but you have a rich life on your own. And I feel like this person always winds up with very codependent relationships, and their relationships don't work out. They don't like what they create. So this unstructured energy they didn't like about you a little bit in the beginning, because again, it's flighty. This person's a control freak. They like everything structured, methodical, but their life is boring. Where you're not structured, so anything goes. Again, you're a free spirit. So they like it, but they're not comfortable in that energy. But then the relationships that they create for themselves, they don't like, but they're attracted to you, not just because of looks, but the way that you live. So they think that they could actually have a relationship with you. The problem is that this person hasn't given enough time, is what I feel. So the energy is unstructured because they don't really know how to approach you, is what that means. And that's just from that card. We're going to pull another one just to spice things up a little bit. You can just write unstructured in your comment bar, however. You don't have to write both words. Now, the other word is impatient. Well, I feel like because the more time that goes by, the more that this person's getting frustrated, because they thought that they had you figured out. They thought that this unstructured energy was flaky, and that meant that you were weak and that you didn't really have direction, and they didn't really understand your direction. And they looked at it like the flighty energies of being a free spirit. Where again, now they're looking at you differently, and they're like, I actually feel like I could be in a connection like that. But they realized they wasted a lot of time, Because this person likes to be seen as very methodical, structured, have their shit together all the time, almost like a little too perfect. That's how you know that they don't feel perfect, that they actually feel inadequate. Because a person that spends that much time putting energy in trying to make themselves appear a certain way, well, again, what is that energy supposed to be doing? It's not supposed to be creating a facade. You're supposed to be creating yourself. So I feel like in time of separation, this person is seeing you differently. However, they didn't put the time in to get to know you. So they wasted a lot of time. And so now every day it's like watching spaghetti trying to boil. It's like, oh, this water is taking forever to boil. But you notice when you're busy and you're multitasking, it doesn't really take that long for the water to boil when you're boiling pasta. Only if you're sitting there staring at it, it takes a long time. So this person went from being so busy and not paying attention to you at all that they lost a lot of time. A lot of time, a lot of space, because really they were just being stubborn. They didn't want to act like they cared too much because they're really fearful of connections. They don't work out. But the problem is that you're so different that they can't stop thinking about you. How they thought that this was going to play out, it didn't play out. How they perceived you to be in the beginning is not who you are. So I almost feel like the universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it, God, protected you. And I say that because when a person doesn't really see you for you, but they see you more through their own wounds, through their own perceptions, but not for really as you are, it was God's way of hiding who you are, because this person was not on a very high vibration. Why again? They're very regiment, they're a control freak. People that are control freaks have a lack of identity. Why do I say that? Because if I'm so busy trying to control you, where is my life? It's like I don't have life. My life is all about controlling you. Why? Because I'm fearful. Why? Because I feel inadequate. When we go down deep inside, so it's like this person is filled with doubt and that relationships could even work out, but they doubt themselves, and it's because they don't really know who they are. And so this person is looking back now because so much time has gone by that now they're stuck in a place of guilt because your silence is deafening. Like it would almost be better if you would curse this person out. But you not saying anything, it's like all they can hear is the tick, tick, tick of that clock because they know that they wasted a lot of time and they're trying to make a decision based on no information. It's not like this person took the time to get to know you. Everything is their perception of you. So they have a lot of grief. And they're so imbalanced, and I say that because this card just pops out at me. They're so imbalanced because of they're so afraid of criticism. That this person actually cuts themselves off from being in a relationship. So they stay in this sadness and feel like no one really wants to be with them, where really they have trust issues, but it's them that they can't trust. It's themselves. They get in their own way. It's like they have abandonment issues, but they're abandoning the situation because they're avoiding you because they don't want to hear criticism, even though that they know that they weren't fair, they weren't true, they weren't nice. But hey, they viewed you from a certain perception. And they kind of liked it. It was one that elevated them, made them feel more superior, made them feel as if they had their shit together. And I feel like time has changed and now the separation, and they're finally seeing what you're manifesting. And they're starting to see who you hang out with on a more regular basis. And they're seeing, so I feel like it's almost like maybe you came into like this person's job or moved into the community, or again, their perception of you was limited because they never met anyone quite like you. Again, you're different. And then on top of it, they had, what they were taught about people that were like free spirited. Oh, you're flaky. You need to do a job that you don't like, but make a lot of money, like put a lot of attention on exterior things. So, like I said, it just how this person was comfortable in perceiving themselves and how they were comfortable in perceiving you. That they have to come back and apologize. Well, that's really humbling, when really this person's like, I don't want to deal with it. Instead, I'll avoid the criticism and avoid you, thinking that, well, I'll get over you. I don't really have feelings for you. I think that you're flaky. I think that, the way that you do things so unstructured, like you do things your own way. What the hell is that? It's like you don't do things the proper way. Life, and almost to the point now that this person looks back and they're like, your life is too easy because things work out. Where it's not that you don't put work in, it's just you don't follow the norm. So you might not work a 9 to 5 job. You might work like off hours, or your job is different, or your style of parenting is different. It's that you're different from what they perceive, but what they perceive in order for it to work, they don't like. So they don't do well in relationships. That's the irony. It's almost like I don't like who I am. This person's like, I don't like who I am because, but I do it because it's acceptable by everybody else and what I was taught. I was taught by my parents to be this way. I was taught by the school to be this way. I was taught by my church to be this way. I was just taught, and this is the right way to be. Only they're not happy. They don't feel comfortable. And you being your true self and doing things your own way, triggers them. It's like you almost have too much power. You're too happy. And it's because they're not happy. But we see that they're wounded because it shouldn't make this person feel angry. Yeah, it's the way that their parents taught them. It's the way that they were brought up by certain rules. Like you might have to say in a marriage that you don't want to be stuck being. I feel like for some it's that. It's that they're living a sham of a life, or they have to work a job that they don't really want to work at. And the thing is, when you're not happy with yourself and you're doing things that you don't want to do, you're so cut off emotionally from getting what you need that a lot of times unconsciously you'll overcompensate where you overgive the people that actually are available to you in hopes that emotionally you'll get something back. And I feel like that's what this person did in order to be accepted. And they don't really have any real strong bonds or strong connections, which is why they were like, well, I can dispose of you, you're not going to affect me. It's like, you're different, you're a little scattered, you're unstructured. I really don't like what the way that your life looks. It's probably not going to be that good. And I don't have emotional connections anyway. Or nor do I want one because they don't work out. They're horrible. So I can just dispose of you. Well, that's not what happened here. This person is now looking at you from a different perception, and what it's doing is it's making this person look at themselves, and they're getting triggered. Almost like they want to put the blame on somebody, so it's going to be on you because you're just too happy. Your life just works out too easy. So it's almost like they want to like come in and like create disruption because they're hurt people hurt people. And really, it's like they're full of fear because it's been instilled in them. And then there's also, they took on this persona that if they get rid of that, then who are they? They're nobody. And see, then they come from a real place of fear because our parents can't be too much on top of us, telling us how to do, how to think, how to be, what we should be into, what school we should go into. What happens then is we don't learn how to think for ourselves. And that's what we see here. We see that parents got too involved. Now, this could be a grown man, and you're saying, well, what the hell? They've been out of the house for 30, 40 years. Well, what you would notice is that they were extra close to their parents. So you would actually not see it like that, and they wouldn't see it like that. But where the parent has always overstepped their boundaries, and so your person just doesn't know the difference. They don't know, again, and it's been drilled into their head that they need to live a certain way, they need to be a certain way, they need to, in order to be a good person. So you enjoying yourself and living your life and having your life work out for you, well, that's unheard of and it's triggering because you live your life. It's not that this person doesn't love the family or whoever is like telling them, they do, but those people should not have more power over, how they live their life than they do. And that's the problem. This person's gotten to a place within their life where they're like, I'm not happy with my life. And it's because I'm not the one that's creating it. But then there's a fear of, I don't know if I can change it because then who am I? Maybe it's not going to work out for me. See a lot of the head chatter. So it's easier for them to try and sabotage you, to create problems in your life, to see you differently than actually humble themselves and surrender their ego because that's going to require change. It's like instead they stay powerless, and that as long as they stay powerless, they're going to stay hostile. And they stay hostile because what you see is you're a disappointment. You're a disappointment because they hide behind their shame. It's like I would rather take on this persona of who I should be. Otherwise, if I become who I want to become and I let go of who I'm supposed to be, well, that's going to cause problems. A lot of people are not going to look at me in the best of light. I'm going to have a lot of shame on me. So again, and not discuss this person. So they'd rather live lies and illusions and put the blame back on you. But understand they know it's not true and it makes them feel angry. When really you're looking at this person like, what the fuck is your issue? You just seem really selfish. And not just selfish, but self-righteous and full of resentment. And it's because this person has a wall up. What it really feel is their anxiety and worry because it's fear. It's just channeled out in their self-righteousness and thinking that, that they're not that they're not powerless, that they'd rather again overcompensate, where they just seem like they don't care. But really now they're in a place of regret because they know that they didn't give you anything. And in that, that was very disrespectful. But it's all because of their insecurity. This person learned just to think about themselves. And that shame will always make a person overcompensate and try and make them look like their life is perfect when their life is not perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. We shoot for excellence. As long as this person continues to try and live like they're perfect, they're going to always feel hopeless and be jealous of you because you're living your true self, your authentic self. You live from this knowing, this wisdom. And they also know that you have no tolerance to be with people that are not living their true self. So you're putting them in a position where you're saying, either rise or get the hell out of my life because I don't have time for it. So of course, this is like it's shocking and it's hurtful and it's not like any other relationship that they've ever had before because it's a spiritual connection, one that's very unstructured because the divine has orchestrated this to say, hey, listen, this is the way you're living your life. It's so boring. You're living for other people. You're living, look at this person. Where at first, again, they had judgments, but now they're seeing it in a different light where it's more like jealousy. They went from thinking you weren't good enough to putting themselves in some weird ass competition almost. And that's really because they haven't done enough healing. They don't recognize what all these emotions are about. They just know it feels really uncomfortable. And that's because they need to heal the shame. And the shame that was probably put on from their parents for not living a certain way, which is why this person has to listen to everybody else's opinions and go along with the crowd, even though it's not making them happy. And they want to be seen as authority. They want to be the one in charge. And you living this way, you're really the one that's in charge because you have authority over your own life. So it's again, that's the irony. And that's what when this person is seeing. It's like, yeah, if you want to see it from that perception, but eventually we grow up. We don't need to have the approval of mommy and daddy. We don't need to follow other people's rules. Life changes. We change our mind. That's the beauty of, life. You're able to continuously change. This person needs their inner child healing. That's what it comes down to. It's like that they're blocked. And they're blocked because it's like what this situation is either change, and yeah, people are going to get mad at you, but if they really love you, they're not going to stay mad forever. This person has major abandonment issues, and in that, I feel like they just they abandon this connection. And in that, even though there's attraction, there's still attraction because there's still a soul connection. You feel like the passion is gone. You're like, I don't trust you now. I don't trust you now. Because the passion for you, you're like, I live a passionate life. I live a true life. I'm in my high vibration. You're the one that's not. So the constant treating me as if there's something wrong with me, giving me less, you trying to, make me feel a certain way, really didn't make me feel anyway, except for that I don't see you the same way, which is also pissing this person off and making this person feel insecure because they know it. And they know why, because they ignored you and you saw it as abuse, psychological and emotional abuse. You're like, you're playing games, you're gaslighting me. You're trying to make it like there's something wrong with me when really you feel like there's something wrong with you. So you're continually projecting your shit onto me. So it became all about like this power struggle where again you got tired of the dry spell. It's like what made the connection good in the beginning, I feel like, was your view was they were opposite from you. They were bringing other energy to you, but you weren't viewing this person like in a lower energy. You were treating them on a fair, equal level. The whole time they weren't looking at you the same way. Now that you detached and you're still living your best life and living at a high vibration, and now they're miserable because now they're even more miserable without you in their life because you were the one different thing that was at least entertaining to watch, because again, while it lived differently, you're always happy. I mean, they had to study you in order to like see this. Instead of them, they're jealous because it makes them feel really insecure. How am I going to fix this? Where instead of they got all caught up in their head, of course, it's like you would have no sexual attraction to this person over time. They didn't give you anything. This person thought they treated you the way that they treat all the other people that come into their life that live the way that they do, which is, they live the same exact way, which is why the relationships don't work out. They live where they hook up with someone that says, well, you should hook up with someone and then, act like you're going to get married and, live a generic lifestyle, but there's no flavor to that person. When I say flavor, it's like, where's your passions, your interests, what makes you different? Where's your exquisiteness? What makes you shine? What is this person like doesn't have it? It's again, they're living somebody like a robot where you're all about that. And it triggers this person. It's like, wow, it's so loud. It's so, they had so many preconceived notions about it that they wouldn't let you get close because the more that they looked at their life and the more that they couldn't help but to compare. And this is why I said they kind of put themselves in a weird competition with you. And I don't think that that's what they meant to do, but the lack of emotional connection and the lack of unique individuality, when a person then tries to emulate or tries to act it comes weird because they're not coming from their true self. They're not coming from their higher self. So it, like what it said, it ruined the connection where it should have never, because there was a lot of unconditional love here. So it doesn't mean that it's still not a soul connection. It is. It's just, you're like, I never thought that I could actually not be attracted to you anymore. But what you saw is all the holding back, all the game playing, all that. It became all about like a competition. So of course you're not going to want to be vulnerable to lay down with a person in that way. You're not going to want to let them in that way. It ruined the connection because you saw it as abuse. Though this person does have romance, they do have affection, and they do have appreciation for you. It was after they evaluated everything, and that again almost had to evaluate their options. They needed to like have some sort of comparison. Like they never had somebody love your exquisiteness, someone that was different come into their life and show them. So, and believe me, it's like it created a new awareness for this person, one that is frustrating to them because they can't go back to the way that things were. There's a reason why they say ignorance is bliss, because before you know something, you don't know it. It doesn't bother you. But now that this person knows it, it's like time is a ticking. They wasted a lot of time. They see you differently. They can't really come back from this. They know that they didn't treat you well. Then there's also the surrendering of the ego, admitting that they were wrong, being humble. And then who am I? So it's almost like this person needs to go through a whole ego death. It's like, and they know that we get judgment from you. It's like, look how they treated you. So it's almost like then they're afraid of the rejection. The cold hard truth is, again, you're not interested because they can feel that that sexual connection is gone. They feel it because when somebody's really into you, you can feel their energy, ESP through the heart and mind. This person did so many things, they took it to the limit that they're like, they know in spite that they don't know, but it's almost like they had to break the connection in order to see the value in the connection. But now they're terrified. They don't know how to come back and fix it because they know for sure you're going to reject them. It's like when meanwhile they were going to come in with like some sort of contract, like saying, okay, I have unconditional love for you. We have this connection. But the thing is, it's like they're breaking the bond. It's like, but they're coming in at the same time that you're actually ready to release it, is what I see here. Because there is unconditional love, but they needed to destroy the connection in order to see the difference. And they don't want to let go of the connection. It's like they know that it's a time to heed the call. It's like that they don't want to give up on it. They're realizing that they're sacrificing their own happiness, and they realize in order to get this back, they have to surrender. They don't have a choice, which, by the way, is what they need to do to heal because their ego is humongous. So, by them actually surrendering, it helps them begin to heal. It's like, and to them, it is going to be like a heroic effort because it's like they've never come back and apologize. This is like changing the whole dynamic of what they want to perceive themselves as. Again, their self-image. But it's again, they're going to figure it out. They're going to find their way. Okay. It's like they are going to, it's an unknown destination, but they're going to figure it out. And they are because, again, there's feelings there. So they just never expected. So I would say that this person, as time goes by, they get more and more and more and more and more and more and more uncomfortable because they can't just shut off the feelings like they thought that they would. And it's not just that, it's your life. It's like this person's like, I don't want the life that I have. It's like they're not happy. They want to refine it. They feel like again that like you bring style. You bring style and it would like kind of fine tune their life. They see you as like as a how you complement your energies would complement each other, and they would. But when they met you, that's not what they were looking for. So they're like, I don't really know how to come back And really, it's really their own thoughts or what's creating the roadblocks, that's creating the barriers in their life. They have to surrender. And it's like this person's weighing it, and it's again, and they know that they want you to hear them out. They want to create balance. They want to make amends in the connection. So do they know how they're going to do that? No. I feel like it's like they don't know how they're going to do it, but this is what they want to do, and that they know that they're just going to figure it out. It's like it's uncharted territory. It's like going somewhere where you've never gone before. Do you know exactly where you're going? No. It's like, do you know what you're going to come across? No. But are you up for the challenge? Yeah, because I want to get to my destination. So even though I might not want to go through the uncharted territory, it's like I'm looking at the end goal, and that's what this person is like. I know that you would add to my life, that you would help refine my life, give it style, purify it because again of how you live. It's like there is a love that, but there's also like a little bit of, like I said, an envy there. Now, I think that in combination with the fact that they know you're gonna break up with them, or if you're not dating, you're gonna reject them. You're giving up on them. You're gonna set boundaries, and that's again terrifying to this person because they're very insecure. They try not to come across as insecure, but they are. It's like it's mainly because they came across so much like a narcissist. Again, thinking about themselves, that they actually have to think about somebody else and somebody that doesn't mark off all the checks in the box, but has a lot of other attributes that weren't even listed on their page. So they almost didn't know what was available to them and they needed to experience it. So we have to say, okay, so why did you attract this person into your life? Because we see what they're going to do, we see why they did what they were going to do. But whether you're with this person or not, what was the point? Like what were you supposed to learn from this person that's so indecisive, doesn't know who they are, especially if we know who we are? What's the whole point? And Spirit says, friendship. So I don't never like this card because it's like this is like a fake friend. Like what friend does this? It's like not really a friend, it's more like a friend of me. So not trusting. And kind of like, I feel like that's kind of like the energy that this person brought to the table a little bit. Like maybe you had a friend when you were younger that used to like insult you. It was more like a friend of me that didn't make you feel safe and they had the potential to trigger you. I don't think that this person was able to trigger you, move you that much. It's like you didn't allow that. It's like the moment that that started, you detached. So sometimes it's that you'll have to go back into a similar experience where you saw yourself as not handling it properly, like being around a friend of me that you let continue to treat you badly over and over and over just because you were too afraid to leave the friendship out of fear of abandonment because it was always you and this person. Where now it's like you didn't really care. Oppressed, being again, but your friend could have done this, a parent could have done this, or it could be a repeating karmic loop in your life where at first your parents did it, but they did it subconsciously when you wanted to join gymnastics, or when you wanted to take up the drums, or when you wanted to do this, or whatever it was, the hobby, the interest, or told you to tone it down. You wanted to wear your hair long, they wanted you to cut it off. Whatever, again, your unique individuality was that you wanted to express, it was oppressed. And so usually if a parent does that, it's not uncommon that we would have a frenemy come into our life and also make us question about our life, especially if we're someone that does things differently, where we're very unstructured and we tend to march to our own drum beat. It's like we don't fit in everywhere. We're not supposed to. Some of us make new worlds for the worlds that we don't fit into. So really, again, if we were brought up in that environment, that would be a spiritual test where someone kept your energy down. Then you would meet friends and other people that were supposed to give you love, but they didn't give you love. Instead, they oppressed you somehow by making you question who you are, which is what I feel like happened with this person, by the way. And happened to you too, as say, as in childhood. The only difference is that you learn that lesson. But then Spirit is saying, well, then you should actually have more compassion for this person to understand what that felt like. Does that mean all of a sudden be in the relationship with them? No, but maybe offer friendship. Again, rage, still having rage against it. Again, if someone makes us feel inadequate, someone makes us question everything about ourselves, and we don't feel comfortable, then there is a lot of rage because we see the questioning as a rejection. We see, the you're not conforming as a way of, again, abandonment. So it creates a lot of anger because it's, again, if you love me, you should love me unconditionally. But this person had feelings for you, but they didn't like the fact that you were unstructured, so you were out. Well, because they didn't form that comfortable relationships anyway, they don't like relationships, but you didn't see all that. You just saw it as, yeah, I don't make enough money for you, or I don't have certain things. You put a lot of stock in your material gain. So again, that you want me to be someone else than I actually am. So again, that's a repeating karmic theme that would create a lot of rage and major trust issues, by the way, of being like, yeah, I'm gonna have a friend or a relative or someone that's supposed to give me love, but instead, what do? They try and oppress me. They try and steal my energy, hold me down. And what you see here is almost like a parent that's holding on to that child, saying, making it like it's okay what that child's doing to that person that's on the floor. Because there was no support. So not trusting the support. And so you growing up pretty much the same exact way, which is the parent telling you who to be, someone that oppressed you, and it created a lot of rage because you did attract other people that tried to do the same thing to you. This makes you very strong, by the way. Either people become subservient, which is what happened to the person you're connected to. They become subservient. They don't know who they are. But you went the opposite way. And it was confusing. It's again, you're supposed to love me, you're supposed to care about me. If you love somebody, you love them unconditionally. It really shouldn't matter um what car they drive, like how they do their job, what type of job they have. Like you shouldn't be putting people in different categories. You should just love them. It's again, and otherwise, then it's the relationship's too confusing. It's like you love me, but you don't love aspects of me, and you let it get in the way of our friendship. So again, then it's conditional, but you did not fall prey to that. You were like, oh, you don't like it. Well, that's your tough shit. That's why this person is like now looking at your life and being like, I actually see how you would refine my life and your life would be better. Why was I so triggered? So again, the seeing is I don't have full control over my life. Again, to bring hope, to not just bring hope, but also to bring cleansing. Because I feel like, again, there's many different realities that play out at one time, sometimes needing to see things from a different person's perception. And that could be even to forgive yourself for past opportunities, maybe not fulfilling a relationship or a job, career, or an opportunity because you wanted to please other people in your family. So part of it's to cleanse yourself, part of it is to learn to forgive. Again, most parents create these structures for safety. They think that they're protecting their children. Oh, if you go to school and you then go to college and take that 10-hour 10-hour class all day long for like 7 years straight, and then right after school you got to get married. You got to get married, and then you have to have 2.5 kids. I don't know what the point 0.5 kids actually looks like. Is that like a munchkin? Or is that considered a dog? I don't know. But you need to have like 2.5 kids. You need to have a white picket fence. You need to have everything the way that it's supposed to look. But that's not what this person likes. And it's like they do it, but then what they find is they lose themselves, that they don't have a self. They never created a self. So there's always something missing. And it's a way that's very easily has this person controlled. Because if you don't have, an identity, and the only people that are around you are people that, that you to supposedly trust. Well, eventually, if those are the only people that you have around, you're going to be leaning on them for a lot more of your emotional support than you should be. And that gives people a lot more power than they deserve to have in your life. And that's what it looks like your person got caught up in living a life that wasn't their life. So having you come into their life at first was a trigger because, oh, like you're so different. How is that going to work? It doesn't logically make sense. And then it's like then them trying to figure out how it wasn't going to work, and then it would still work out. Then now your life seems too easy. And really, this is their own thought processes that are bouncing from one extreme to another. But at the end of the day, what it really does bring is this hope that they could actually be in a healthy relationship, but they'd have to let their higher self lead them. They'd have to not have so much judgments. They'd have to learn to look at things from a more broad perspective and realize again, it would be about refining the connection. Your energies are opposite, but I feel like you had already gone through this connection. So going through it again, but seeing it from a different perception is able to help you let go of any anger, rage, resentment that you're still holding on to from the family and parents that tried to do that to you, and realize that maybe they just have your best interest at hand and that's the way that they live. They live extra safe. So are they happy? No, they're not happy, but from the outside it looks good. So that should be enough. Where you give this person hope because it's like, I actually can have like a happy connection. That one that I would feel fulfilled in too. This person never seems to feel fulfilled in their connections. So I mean, this person is going to make their way back. I think it's a collective reading, so you'll all want something a little bit different. If this person comes in and they are faithful and they value you and they, purify the connections, well, then there is actually a very strong, invincible spiritual power of this connection, which means that that person is changing and that you may not like how they treated, but there's unconditional love. So you'd be willing to be like, okay, I understand because I also grew up that way. I understand how difficult it is to, go up against family and people that you consider to be support and to be love, and to realize that when you break away from them, that you may be breaking away into nothing, and that it's going to take time for you to find who you are. And that's a scary process, and that you needed to go through this process in order to see things differently. I'm glad that I was the catalyst to help you, but this connection is definitely multifaceted, okay? And it is also there to purify. So if this person offers a commitment, well, the relationship can be really a great relationship because they're not looking for a codependent relationship. They're just looking to be able to create themselves and not lose themselves in a relationship, but also have the love and the support when they don't agree with everything. And I think if you're able to forgive this person, that's the invincible spiritual power. It's like that love, unconditional love, is about forgiveness, is about being able to see things from a different perception. That again, every experience is multifaceted, especially when the universe is bringing you someone to help heal. That it's never just one-sided. That it's there's many different angles, and sometimes you need to look at your experience from a few different angles in order to really heal it, to really integrate it, to really let it go, to help purify you, to make you the clearest conduit for spirit to work through so that you can attract more abundance into your life. And I think that that's what spirit's saying is that you would need to do this anyway, whether you choose to be with this person or not. It's helping you purify your energy. You always have free will, though. But in this story, because of the spiritual connection and how multidimensional it is, it really does purify. There really is a faithfulness, a creative force. This person's really going to act as if they value you because they weren't even valuing themselves. So you taught them something, you showed them a new way. So they're going to be different. So we end off with one more card, and that's just a message from the universe. And that is, let's see, we'll give it a quick little shuffle. Spirit said, don't be lazy. I was just going to cut it in half. Well, all right, we'll give it a little quick shuffle. And we will now turn it over. Acceptance. I accept every step that life presents me without resistance. I try to find out what the universe is trying to teach me so that I can grow. Thus, I advance in freedom and on the path to light. And that's what this was about. This connection was all about, like, we have to accept if there's unconditional love, there's unconditional love. I accept the way that you treated me, even though I don't agree with the way that you treated me. However, I see it from your perception. There's many, again, many different it's multifaceted when you're dealing with a spiritual connection. So again, I accept it and realize that everything's there to help me evolve, to grow, to heal, to get me back to that energy of unconditional love that I had a shadow due to this. And even though I healed it, this is you, Virgo, I still needed to go through the experience and transmute it to see a different outcome. And the outcome is not one that I'm holding on to hostility, where I'm going to be kind of like friends, but not really friends. It's like, because I'm really going to like let you into my life and be friends and try and really try, opposed to we pretend, where you don't want to do that. All right, Virgo, you let me know how you resonated with this one, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.